So is the government satisfied with its progress so far? Let's ask the government House Leader Mark Holland, joining us from the House of Commons. Mr. Holland, these last few months of Parliament have been dominated by the affordability crisis. Despite those targeted relief measures for Canadians that need it most, we are still going into a holiday season where every Canadian is grappling with higher prices at grocery stores and a pocketbook pinch. Do you wish that your government could have done more?
You always wish you could do more. There's no question about it. But you wake up every morning and you do the best you can and try to make the biggest difference you can. Look, there's no doubt we're facing strong global headwinds. We're seeing much higher rates of inflation all over the world. Our rate is lower than the EU. It's lower than the G7 average, lower than the UK, lower than the US, lower than most countries, but that's small comfort to Canadians who are trying to make ends meet and pay for groceries and dealing with rising costs. And so what we did was introduce a suite of affordability measures that we were able to get adopted through this Parliament over the last couple of months. They're going to make a very big difference to those that are struggling to pay those bills. To make sure that we make life more affordable for Canadians. So could we do more? Of course. There's always more we can do. That's why we keep pushing an agenda that's squarely focused on affordability and helping Canadians through these globally challenging times. But I think we have a great deal as a Parliament to be proud of. There was an enormous amount adopted that's going to make an appreciable difference in the lives of Canadians.
As we just listed, two of those three bills that did pass this fall, were the result of that supply and confidence agreement with the NDP. One could argue that those wouldn't have gotten done had the NDP not made it part of the deal. Can you really take credit for those specific measures?
Well, you'll notice that I thanked Parliament, that it was an effort, not just whether or not we looked at dealing with mandatory minimums, to make sure that we focus resources on the most serious crimes and that we deal with the overrepresentation of Indigenous and Black Canadians, or whether or not it's dealing with bringing a dental care program that's going to help make sure that all Canadian children have access to dental care right across this country, or whether or not it's support for low-income renters to make sure that they have the support they need to be able to help pay their bills. That this was very much, I think, what Canadians expected of their Parliament, which was to reach across the aisle, to look for partners, to look for solutions. And that's exactly what we've been doing. We know that Canadians expect their Parliament to work collaboratively to tackle the challenges that we're facing in this country, that are faced, frankly, by all nations in the world right now. And they've been able to see a lot of positive results. And so I absolutely think it's a credit to all parliamentarians that we were able to get as much done as we were able to get done. And I hope that sets the table for further collaboration, for further working together, so that we can continue to see a Parliament that productively addresses the solutions the problems facing Canadians with real tangible solutions.
Yeah, and real tangible solutions in things like a healthcare crisis that this country is in the middle of right now. I mean, premiers are calling for a meeting with the Prime Minister as soon as possible to talk about the Canadian health transfers. With pediatric ERs at a breaking point, why doesn't it seem like there's more urgency from all sides of government to solve this issue?
Well, let's take a moment and thank healthcare workers everywhere. The last couple of years have been extraordinarily difficult as they've been on the front line of trying to keep Canadians safe and be there in their time of need. The health crisis brought on by the pandemic and now the challenges facing children with respiratory illness are absolutely enormous. What we've said is we're there to help. We're there to bring additional resources and support to provinces. But let's be clear, the provinces have to move the bar. They have to move the needle. It's not enough for them to just get money and do whatever. We need to be able to be jointly sure through working together that we're materially improving healthcare outcomes and services for all Canadians. So that's what we're asking for, is in coming to the table, is making sure that we're on the same page in what those metrics are, that Canadians can see clearly and tangibly how the healthcare they're receiving is improved by the action that we're taking. And so it's important, obviously, to act with urgency, but also to have metrics associated with that. I used to be the head of the Heart and Stroke Foundation, and when you're looking at research or you're looking at any funding in healthcare, it has to be evidence-based, it has to be rooted in metrics, it has to be rooted in outcomes. And so us working with provinces to make sure that is the case is absolutely essential. So it has to be urgent, but it also has to be smart, and it actually has to make a difference. It can't be a placebo policy.
I wanted to ask you about Bill C-21. It has seemingly given your government more problems than you ever expected. The amendment to Bill C-21 included a list of hundreds of guns, including hunting rifles. When you consider how this bill and the amendment rolled out, would your government like a do-over on the legislation?
Well, I think we're right in the middle of working with not only members of the committee, but with stakeholders across the country, recognizing two very important things. Number one, that we have to get assault-style weapons off the street, that there are guns that are designed for a battlefield, they're not designed for hunting, and that on the other side of the equation, and by the way, that there's a lot of folks who are either the victims of or have lost family members in terrible tragedies who are demanding action, and that's very sensitive, and of course they deserve to see that action. And on the other hand, we have hunters who are participating in a lifestyle that's beloved in this country. My grandfather was a hunter. I think we all know folks for whom hunting is a major part of their identity, and they want to make sure that the rifles that they use for hunting, the guns that are used for hunting are not impacted, and that's fair. And so what we're doing now is having a conversation with stakeholders, with other members of Parliament, to make sure that we achieve those two things. That's not an easy thing to do.
So then was it, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't have a lot of time left. So was that amendment a mistake then? Because it caught up so many of these guns that maybe you didn't intend to?
Well, I think that what's important to look at is how we move forward and how we find that consensus. And really, of course, that's the work of Parliament, to try to bring disparate views together onto the same page. That's no easy thing. That's no easy thing at our family table over Christmas dinner. It certainly is no easy thing in Parliament. And so there's going to be disagreements, and sometimes those disagreements are going to be very forceful, particularly on sensitive topics. I think it's useful for us, instead to focusing on divisions, to focus on how we can bring it together and find common solutions and common ground. And that's what we're committed to do with respect to those two priorities that I think can be recognized and adhered to at the same time.
It's something you'll have to do in the new year. Government House Leader Mark Holland, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate this.
Thank you for having me.